Welcome to Morning Light Radio. I bid you a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it might be in the place that you are. For me, it's morning and I'm getting my day started. And I'm finding the opportunity to do a little bit of reflection and, importantly, to align myself with some intention and maybe even set some goals for the day. Kind of felt like the first thing I needed to do was to ground myself. Happy Saturn day to you, brother. Hope you're doing good. I need to find out how to get the chess on my phone, which shouldn't be that hard because I think it's just a website. And yeah, I got my butt kicked pretty hard playing the 10-minute games. So yeah, I need to get at least some simple understanding of strategy. But we'll see. No pressure. It's fun just to go and the problem is my phone has too many. It doesn't have enough storage, and I've been unwilling to buy more storage for it. And yeah, I think I actually need to remove some apps, but I don't know. But yeah, it is fun, so I might have to figure out a way to be able to get that on there. We shall see. We shall see. I'm just kind of trying to get my day started, and first thing that I realized this morning was that it's nice to just take a moment to take care of your mind and body just a little bit. I've had that feeling so many times in the mornings where I'm like, just feel this pressure. You know, not really so much if I'm just hanging out at home and I have the day off, but if I need to do something and I'm like in the shower and my mind is moving 1,000 miles per hour, and I really have to work to kind of focus on slowing down the breathing, relaxing the mind. gathering my stuff, and maybe I still have to do that all very quickly, depending on how much time I gave myself. I've been playing this audio clip quite a bit, but I'm gonna play it again. I love it. It's Ram Dass reading a poem from Thich Nhat Hanh.
Let me read to you two poems. This first one is by a Buddhist monk named Thich Nhat Hanh. Very beautiful monk. I won't read the whole thing. I am a frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond. I am also the grass snake who, approaching in silence, feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. I am also the merchant of arms, selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. I am also the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in all walks of life. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills up all the 4 oceans. Please call me by my correct names, so that I can hear at the same time all my cries and my laughs, so that I could see that my joy and pain are but one. Please call me by my correct names, so that I could become awake, so the door of my heart be left open, the door of compassion. All my names. The quality of love has no boundaries. There's no other in love. There is us at one level, and at the deeper level there is only I. We are merged in love. Let me read to you two poems. This first one is by a Buddhist monk named Thich Nhat Hanh. Very beautiful monk. I won't read the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, at this moment, we have a revered guest that I would like to welcome. Thank you for your arrival, the Blunt Scotsman. I can figure out how to get you in. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
good late afternoon. I mean,
Yeah, so it's like good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and if there is no time where you are, then it's just good.
good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but good
How was your
morning to
day?
you, man. Did you rest well?
I rested quite well.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Once I knew it was time, and it was quick, and here I am on the other side, awake again and ready to go. Ready to go. You ever watch the show The Anger Management?
Yes.
Oh, that one was so funny. There was a part that came to me this morning. And it was I don't know. I think in the show he's like kind of supposed to be like a Puerto Rican guy, one of the guys that needs anger management, and he throws a fit at one of the sessions, and Dr. Clydell is like, "So how do you think you handled that?" And he goes, "Not so well." Or something like that. And in my mind, the question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think you handled that? Maybe a 2. Yeah, I'm kind of still trying to loosen up a little bit.
Yes, hey, there's we have no choice in this, but the day comes to you always. Before you know it, you need to have a reflex action. One way or another, you think on your feet, you need to get that thing done, or something happens. Don't think it. Do it today. If a thought does come to you, just do it. Just do it. You know what? I'm going to order pizza for later on. Just do it. You know what? I'm going to take next week off. Just do it. Just whatever you think today, get it done. That phone call you haven't made, all that sort of stuff that we talk about for others to do. Yeah, just do it today, man.
Do it now.
Just get it done. That's it. If you think it, do
That
it.
does alleviate a lot of stress.
Yeah, if you don't let any thoughts pass you, it definitely does. You know, that sort of like, yeah, I'm going to get that thing done now. Or you know what? I'll maybe leave that till later on. In fact, there's actually no rush for that at the moment. Yeah, probably not. And yeah, you probably could get that done later on, but there's a reason why you thought about it in the first place. Your mind's trying to tell you something. And yeah, a lot of times we'll put little things in front of that. Oh, I'm maybe too tired, I'm too sore, and yeah, there's no rush. We quieten ourselves.
I got all the time in the world.
Yeah,
Can you believe that's a saying, right? That's a saying.
And
I got all the time in the world there, buddy.
You know what? It's like we play these sort of like, I just really sometimes feel that the amount of psychological damage tricks played on us, you know what? When it's convenient for us, when we're tired, lazy, or whatever that poor vibration may be in, we'll use that upon ourselves, and we dismiss it as anything else than other just, yeah, I can sometimes be lazy or whatever, and we just make it okay.
Yeah, I think the voice will kind of tell you, because sometimes it's not being lazy, it's being overactive, and you got this voice saying, lay down, get some rest.
Also, yeah, there's the other end of that, definitely.
Yeah, that the intuition is such a powerful intelligence.
It's the biggest
working.
inside list. Yeah, it's the inside workings of our lesson system. It's like tuition, but it's in. Something we're constantly teaching ourselves. It's like this thing is inside us, you know? It's this tuition.
and we build this kind of complex around it for some reason. It's very interesting to me. We really like not. I don't know what but it seems to me like a lot of people that I come across in my daily life really kind of fight against it, and myself included, for sure, for sure, for sure. And I have came to a place, and I've been there for some time, where I found out that it's not a great for my mental and physical health to be completely resistant to it or to fight it at all.
I think we can only play games with ourselves for so long before that part of ourself that is playing that game just dies. It becomes part of your character. It's ingrained. This is who I am. You don't like it, sort of. Nobody can say anything to you. This is the way that I've always been. I've been told I'm just like my father. All that stuff. We just settle for whatever that thing is because it really does take quite a lot of work to erase that from our negative sound pool of you're okay, they ain't going to bother that you didn't call, or they'll love you anyway. Yeah, we just
Yeah, I like that name,
yeah.
Sound Pool.
Well, it just seems, but I use that in a few things. But I use the word as the depth of the pool, but it's also this sort of energy pulling at us. Really is like when you step into a swimming pool into the one end and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can't stop yourself walking forward into the deep water. It's an absolute pool. Yeah.
Yeah, that pool. That's where so much chaos can come from, and it's a very interesting thing because this is kind of walking on what I've been calling an essential self and a non-essential self. It's really kind of like the same thing, and like these, we kind of start to think we're these thoughts.
Yeah, I know, but they're
This
both
is
very
me.
important.
It's just me who procrastinates. That's who I am. I'm a procrastinator. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, exactly. No,
It's
it's not.
just
But
what
that
you're
part
doing.
of that unaccepted self part of ourself is very important because without that, we have nothing to fathom against. There's no sense of should I have or should I not have, and it's really in the depth of your own conscience and your own self-analysis that would eventually win that battle of other and self. This split thing that we all have become to this false sense of reality and understanding. We all find ourselves there psychologically, so it's like, yeah, we have these deep, meaningful conversations with ourselves, and then even question ourselves, why am I even having to work this out? Because I already know. But it's walking into that deep water. Sometimes we just can't stop ourselves until we realise,
Yeah.
hey, I better swim out of here, man.
I got to get back on the shore.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that I find a bit interesting is like this difference of being on the shore, watching the tides come in, watching the waves come in, watching it go out, and then being in the ocean and experiencing it from that vantage point as well.
Well, it's really strange, even though this and a psychological thing didn't make any difference. It was what it was. But when I had to qualify to be a windsurf instructor, one of the lessons was that you had to do a sea test exam. And we went to a place called Rosemarkie in Scotland with a very wild ocean, part of the North Sea. And you had to windsurf a mile offshore. You had to de-rig your board, but tie it all up to the board as if it could be really bad conditions. But then you would have to use a rope and tow someone else into shore. This was so you could qualify to be a windsurf instructor on sea water. And I was last of the group of people to go, and I was the youngest. And as I've windsurfed out with one of the instructors, and I hook up the board and I start to paddle in, I can remember my shoulder. It was a long, long day. And by this point, these guys were really big, muscular men. I was a boy. I was 16. And I'm paddling in, and my shoulders and arms were red hot. And I can remember looking up to the shore and seeing it was so far away. And in my mind, I'm like head down, and I'm like doing more. And I look up again. And definitely, it seems just so far away. And in the distance, I can see people taking their wetsuits off, getting into the van, getting dressed. And I just all of a sudden had this thought, I'm going to fail this. And the instructor must have sort of sensed this. And he shouted to me, don't look at the shore, you've got a life to save. And that brought me right back to the whole reason I was doing this. That this was a lot bigger than me. I was reenacting actually saving someone's life here. And I just put my head on that board, and I felt I lost my arms at one point, but I didn't look up until the board actually hit the shore. And I'm sure that I'd lost myself in this, thinking, I'm never going to get here. They're going to tap me in the shoulder soon, saying, listen, stop, you've failed. But it's sometimes not needing to see the destination, but knowing it's there can get you through. We always need to try and feel that we have to focus on a thing. But when you know it's there, you don't need to. You just get your head down, you work hard, day by day, and before you know it, the destination is in front of you.
That is a pretty freaking hardcore story. In many
It
ways.
was, because I couldn't move for a week. And do you know something? It's like I used to get picked up at 7:30 every morning on the mountain road from Aviemore to go to the loch, and I still made it for work the next morning. And these guys were just the way they always are, up, fit, ready. But they were laughing at me so much, and they were so, even though they were very hard on you, they were very kind on me that week. They were like, they knew that I couldn't move. You know, the worst pain I think I'd ever been in was after that sea exam.
Wow.
Lessons learned.
Wow. Yeah, the thought of being a mile out on a surfboard.
And on that day as well, that was what such an amazing day. That it's that water. If anybody ever gets the chance to visit this water at Rosemarkie in the Moray Firth in Scotland, the water is a crystal green colour that you can see 100 feet down to the bottom. It's the most beautiful, clear looking water. And at one point we had basking sharks swimming underneath us. This was one of the only times I ever felt windsurfing like I am not falling into the, even though basking sharks wouldn't do you any damage apparently, but they were big enough to give you this, oh, I'm just a small human feeling. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. And we were talking about the ocean and
How
the sea
beautiful.
and stuff. It gives you such an empowering feeling, you know. Great
Yeah,
connections.
and how great connection too with kind of how the mind works and how our perception can be so heavy and have so much weight placed upon it.
But it always seems to be that when we think about ourselves, the weight feels heavy as soon as the empath part of us is triggered, like a real human instinct that many of us have. As soon as that sense of responsibility actually kicks in, we will walk through fire, walk over broken glass. We will do anything to save our wife, our son, our daughter, our mother, our father, our brother, our sister. That's just who we really are. Our main purpose is to help each other.
And it's quite fascinating that our physiology can change instantly,
Yes.
instantly as it's required.
And it's unbelievable that the physiology can change instantly because it has an absolute correlation with the psychological and biological. When you go into the psychological of the physiological change, creates its own chemicals. This is what actually creates this harmonic effect of a well-being person. Its real definition, it's in medical books. It's a thing that does exist. But it needs this correlation, it needs a symbiotic effect between everything working in a harmonic way together. And it tells you, you need more sleep, you need to drink more water, you must exercise more. And you're like, yes, boss.
You know, I started and I stopped, and I began doing I began doing planks, the yoga posture,
Yes.
and for anybody who might not be familiar with it, it's basically like you're in the push-up position at the up position, and you try to hold there. And when I first started doing those, it was maybe I could get like 2 to 4 breaths before anguish and some serious pain. Some serious pain.
Mate. Oh my God.
Yeah, and you know, after doing it sometimes daily, sometimes every day, sometimes every few days, I found myself able to breathe. And it was kind of like a wow thing that happened. Like, I can do this and I can breathe. I never would have thought that was possible just,
Yeah, but
a week or two ago. Yeah. Now go ahead.
I was going to say is the modern soft flagellation is yoga.
Say
And
that one more
despite
time.
what is the modern day soft flatulation is like whipping yourself. The spike of serotonin and adrenaline apparently rebalances white and red corpuscles in the system, flushes through the kidney and liver, and inflates the lungs. And you would feel that you can breathe better. This
Oh
starts
yeah.
to stretch all these. Yeah, it starts to open up areas that you've not had before, just because you're forcing these extra chemicals through your brain in a meditative state through exercise. It's like who would have believed that we can actually enhance ourselves by the actions we take? Sounds really simple, but I think it actually all is.
Enhancement, indeed.
Soup.
Yeah, exactly. That does make the soup. That does make the soup.
Oh.
And the soup is good.
The soup's always good. If you can sort of like count on someone always being in the kitchen, at least you know once we're finished with all our talking, we can sit down and just have something to eat.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that bread you baked. Just what a great experience that is to make a loaf of bread. What a grounding, earthly, divine action that is, and how good it feels, and in a very visceral way. And it takes just a little patience, not too much, just a little bit. And you can kind of see yourself dancing while you're doing it.
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah, because you don't bake bread without dancing.
And
It
obviously,
is a dance.
obviously, anything you do, you're going to get out of that thing as much as you put in. Always. You know, and if you're sort of like, because it's messy. If anybody's never made bread before, it's really messy, but it's fun to do. And you're in there, and you're kneading, and you're kneading, and you're kneading, and you're kneading, and eventually the dough starts to come into a bit of shape, and you're kneading, and you're kneading, and you're kneading, and you're kneading, and you're pressing, you're rolling it, it gets into some form. But every time you're pressing that in as like an exercise, it's a motion, and you're saying, "Thank you, I love you. Give me more strength, give me more understanding, show me something else." And then later on, at some point, that bread rises after 30 minutes or so, give it another good press, and then leave it for another 45, 50 minutes till it has its last rise. Then in the oven, 25 minutes, 35 minutes until it's nice and golden and brown. And then later on, the smell is beautiful, but later on, when you cut that bread and you eat a bit of that bread, the psychological, spiritual, and biological connection of the symmetry of everything connects. You are now creating your own well-being effect by simply eating a piece of bread. And that's what I really do think sometimes. Well, when I've read about it sometimes about the body of Christ and the blood of Christ, I do actually believe there was a different meaning than has been interpreted.
Yeah. I had a friend who was kind of believing that was actually in the introduction of sacrilegious practice.
I don't believe that's what happened. Put it that way.
Yeah, but his, like, I know, way up wherever, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's hey.
His kind of idea was, it'd be great if you'd explain it again, but that basically that's like cannibalism.
It's just, and I don't mean this in any loose way, but things were going quite good for Jesus as who he was up till that very point. Right up to that very point in the story of it all, I was like, oh, whoa, what? Wait, what?
And of course, we don't, really... we do understand, talking here, we do understand that there are fabrications.
100%, and we tell the story around the campfire, then 2 years later we add something on to make it more dramatic or larger. I get that. Yeah. But it's like those things that I used to get in my t-shirts when I was younger, and on little pens, and my rulers were as what would Jesus do? And just to that thing, is that something Jesus would have done? You know, that everything that he'd led up to and what he'd done to that point seemed to turn everything on its head on that. It's always
Beautiful
great
comment there,
to
brother.
it's always great to sort of like even just talk about it, man.
Yeah,
Baked bread,
I think
baked bread.
so.
Yeah, Winkler Micah saying baked bread, break bread. Yeah, it's a beautiful
Avuncular
thing.
Micah is serious about his bread.
Well, really?
He is the family bread maestro.
Oh wow. I had been
Actually, to
baking quite
such
a
a
lot.
degree. Oh, sorry. I was going to say it. Actually, to such a degree, the family expectations are growing excessively high.
I think I have only slightly experienced this when I started doing baking, and everybody obviously loves the smell of baking and what you bake. Then before you know it, it's like, oh yeah, you find yourself baking a lot, and there's this time involved, and other people need to use the oven. Are you finished? Are you finished with that yet? Just 12 more muffins and one more brown loaf. Just give me another 3 hours and we're done. That's good. That's a great thing.
Yeah,
It really, really is. So simple.
Micah often does. I think mostly does, but not. There's variations, and I think they're mostly sourdough. So it's kind of cool, where you create the. I can't remember what it's called, but you create like the sourdough yeast kind of concoction. You let that form itself, and you recycle it, and you reuse it, and you keep it growing. And it's really kind of like this connection, like growing something else. Like being involved in the growth of a plant. Almost kind of makes me think of Roy Rapp playing with the spider, feeding the spider, and just having that rooted connection. I kind of feel like that baking bread is really a great introduction to that, having those rooted connections, those earthly
See,
connections.
it's like years and years ago, I can remember my grandma always was baking. You could always smell baking from the kitchen. Just every day she would be baking something. And I could always remember be saying to her, when would it be ready? When would it be ready? And she'd tell you to look in the oven and see it lifting up. And once it started to lift up, you knew it would be ready. And you'd be looking, not yet, looking, not yet. Oh, it's almost ready. But I still find myself doing that, like 50 years later. Like looking in the oven, like I still get a rush of seeing this dough rising up, and then I get another rush when I start to see it go golden brown with the wash that I've put on it. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
the simple things really connect like this. You know that. You know that the sitting in nature and just watching a tree moving in the wind and just putting your bare feet in a river, or just the real true simplest of things can make the deepest of connections if you allow it.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm commuting to work, I realize that I'm just not paying attention to anything. I'm watching the cars and I'm checking my rear view, but I'm not really taking in the world around me. And when I notice that, like look at the rolling hills and the green grass at the moment that's on them. Some large stones, various trees and other plants.
Do you have
You just have
specific
this
shops?
sense.
Do you have? Sorry.
Yeah, shops?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have specific shops that you go to do your shopping in?
Yeah,
And you've went to the
definitely.
same sort of shops. You go to this place for that shopping and this place for that shopping. You'll get maybe different groceries from, but you go to the same places all the time.
Pretty much. Yeah. Oh,
Just
yeah.
try something. Just try something, okay? The next time you're going shopping, so the next time you're going shopping, before you get to the shop that you're going to, try and have it in mind just to stop. Just to stop and have a look round about you. And you will actually see shops that you didn't even know existed. I never knew that shop was there. I've been coming to this shop for how many ever years, and I never knew that shop was there. Because we don't see what's not in our focus. We don't open up to things that we're not sort of like being directed to. And obviously that's where we're missing everything, especially when we're distracted and taken off topic of so many important things. We miss it all, but it's psychological symptomatic effects of everything.
Oh, yeah. I was watching
It's
a
strange.
show, and it was like a Netflix series, and it was about something that happened locally. And in the show, there's someone like showing them going about their day, right? It's like a documentary, and they're going about their day, and I go, I know where that is because I see in a place where I shop right next to it, and I've never realized it was there. It was a European bakery, which
Brother,
to me is
you will,
freaking something
you
that
know
I would
something?
like to know about. And
You
like,
know, this is it. This is it. You are going to be absolutely shocked when you maybe try this to a couple of your grocery stores. You're like, let me just give myself a little minute to look around here. It's like, it really is a great eye opener to let us understand how closed down we have truly become in our process of thinking and how we play out our day. You know, it's almost like when you sort of like broaden the scope of things. We seem to be on autopilot, and everything is visceral, everything's a sign. You feel everybody, you're connected to it all. You don't feel one path. It's just a strange thing.
yeah, there's a experience that many people have is when they're doing their commute, they get to their destination and go, I don't recall any of the traveling, and I don't remember driving here. And there is a reason for that.
There is. It's called being absent-minded.
And yeah, and it can be completely absent.
Yeah, well, it's not as if we're losing any time, even though it feels like that.
Well, I think the takeaway for me is that there's actually chaos happening at that point.
Yes.
You're everywhere doing all these imaginary things, answering all these imaginary questions. And it's actually, it feels so much better to be grounded.
Yes. It's constantly reminding yourself to keep it simple. This is all
Yeah,
over
yeah. And
complicated.
if you need a apparatus to ground yourself, this is my this is my recommendation. Take it however anybody feels they would or wouldn't. I'm cool with that, but I think to me and to many other people that just going back to your breath, whether you're driving to work, whether you are in a intellectual debate, even if you feel like something has harmed you, just kind of going back to that breath. Even if you're baking bread, you can really go into that breath and be there with that bread baking, be there with that commuting, be there with that frustration, be there with that love, be there with that gentle soul that you
And the
really
breathing.
are.
You focus on the breathing.
You're just, yeah, you just feel that and be there in your earth body.
When we're keeping it simple and we're keeping it basic, just the things that you speak about a lot is the really tuning into your breath, even just taking that 1 minute to feel your body lifting up as you breathe in and the release as you exhale to the very end of that breath before you breathe back in again. And just that little momentary pause, as you've discussed, of taking a bit of self-control of one of the most important functions that the body has, alerts the brain. It lets the brain know that you are serious about doing some thinking here because you're taking control of your bodily functions. This lets the psychological self be a little bit more freer to think. It's all linked up together. Biological, the physiological, and the spiritual self need each other. Or it just won't work.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I notice sometimes my breathing becomes constricted. Maybe because I feel like this pressure and I allow it to accumulate. And then I'm in a situation where I need that breath. And it requires some rigorous actions, some rigorous breathing to expand the lung capacity and really open up. And it's interesting because as I might begin, it seems impossible. It seems like shallow breathing is my only option. And if you have some determination, it doesn't take super long, but I guess it depends on, what's going on. And
But this
how long
chaos
we've
sometimes,
ignored.
but this chaos sometimes it
Yeah,
is created with these thoughts in these space. It's like the physical body is an indicator of how the brain reacts to dealing with psychological pain. Because when the body is in a lot of pain, sometimes you'll do this sort of thing, like, and you hold your breath to move. You're sort of like your whole body is locked to deal with that little pain
yes,
moment. That's physical. That's what we do. Physical. We do it 1, 2, 3, and we get up. Now, psychological. That's exactly how the brain is reacting as we are trying to think about something. The thoughts are going, and eventually we need to let that go because we're either stressed out, depressed, anxiety. We need to sleep. We're too emotional, and we'll let that go. But it won't still be psychologically breathing properly. So that's why I'm saying that, as you always point out, there's never going to be any sort of like deep connection to thinking and erasing some of these sort of like depths of emotions until you take control of your physical breathing to allow the brain to activate. Just thinking positive's not enough.
yeah. I could use the yeah. Actually, just thinking. Keyword sometimes
Thinking.
thinking,
Hmm.
and then you kind of pair this breathing with the intuition of action,
Well,
and
it's like
it can
as sorry,
release.
but as we speak about intuition, we
Yeah,
think about this sort of like mystical thing that the depths of consciousness sort of like triggers us to. Okay, that's psychological. What about our physical intuition? Do you not think that when we are eating healthy and doing physical exercise, there's a physical intuition going on there with the rest of our body? Do you not think that a physical intuition is going to enhance a spiritual and psychological intuition? Of course it is. And if we ever feel that we're maybe not getting to a certain transitional point in our quest or paths, then look at these other areas of your existence that you can maybe work on because they all are connected.
yes, they are.
They so are. As I drink some more mushroom juice.
And as I kind of consider my own well-being and kind of knowing, being kind of honest with my current condition, I
Yes.
have been actively helping myself on the physical spectrum, on the exercising. Uh, I think, thank goodness, I'm doing some breathing exercises, and I do one of those things where I have the feeling of knowing, like powerfully knowing, that if
Yes.
I continue to do what I'm doing uh, in regards to the work on kind of seeing myself, that would be so enhanced when I include the work of adding that exercise and physical work as well. That will so much bring clarity,
Yeah.
so much.
There's actually a point
And
where
as I
you
say
you
that, as I say
Yep.
that, I have to mentally deter myself from driving to the donut shop, to greedily driving to the donut shop. I got yay close to exiting at that donut place. Not that anything is wrong with donuts. I love them.
Me also.
But I'm already eating a homemade muffin, and I got banana and apple and orange. So yeah, just kind of like yeah, this there are these things that kind of override intuition in our lives. And that's kind of what I'm going through in my discovery. And seeing my many weaknesses and again being okay with that, actually being grateful to be able to be the witness to myself and kind of coming to terms with what is driving this vehicle on several different things and what is pretending to drive it. I feel like I should keep talking, but I don't know. I don't got anything else.
Yeah, well, it's
Talking.
also, but it's also overthinking is not a vehicle to a bad destination. It's underthinking what your fuel has become. You know, it's something we just throw away as, yeah, I'm a bit of an overthinker, and yeah, I'm always saying things, never getting them done, and that's just a bit of that character trait slip that we allow into our psyche. But it's just what you're talking about, like, yeah, a bit more sort of like firmer thinking for self-determination and following through and the things that you want to incorporate into your life. But as we continue to keep thinking about ourselves, a lot of the time we won't get it done. As soon as you think about that you want to do this for your children because you want to be on the earth as long as you possibly can and the most healthiest of states that you can, then yeah, that'll work. And with that working, you'll also eventually get the own physical benefits of getting to that point where you think, you know what, yeah, man. It's always that
And
empath thing that's
it's
triggered in us that motivates us the most, because sometimes motivation is really difficult to come when it's self-determination that's needed. You can be dedicated, that's one thing, but motivation is just sometimes not there. It just ain't. You know, some people just don't want
I
to get
feel
up and
like you
go
brought
to
a
work.
very important yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I like got this really important to me,
flash.
an important insight as you were talking. Yeah, and it was kind of clarifies maybe what I was hoping to convey. And it's kind of in a question form is what is the fuel and what am I fueling?
Okay, let's just take it very quickly back to, before you carry on, the 3 stages of the fuel: the spiritual, the physiological, and the biological. How are we thinking? How are we acting? And what are we doing by putting things in our body? What is all the fuels?
Exactly. Wow.
It doesn't matter where you
I
maybe
feel like
feel
this is
you
kind
are.
of
I've got lots of that sort of fuel, but see that other fuel. I'm really going to need to work on that and see if that is one bit of fruit a day. See that if that is like walking around your block where you stay. When I first started to try and walk again, when I lost my femoral nerve on the left hand side, I got to such a point where I was just so determined I need to try and get exercise. I put on so much weight, and I started a thing live on Facebook called the Round Your Block Challenge. It was for disabled people or people who were in ill health, who wanted to get healthier, who were going to go outside their home and just try and see how far they could walk around their own block. So for the first week or two, I was going live, and I was only making it up to the end of the block and round the corner. Didn't feel safe in my legs, my back was sore, my hips were playing up, and I was like, no, back to the home. But it doesn't matter where you start or how much you do. The most important thing is that you're connected to that part of that fuel, and eventually, over time, those reserves build up, and you feel this harmonic effect happening called well-being. It is a moment of clarity, as they talk about at AA. That true light bulb moment, but in a true harmonic sense. Your body feels good. It just does. It feels ready for any disease. You can defeat anything that comes into your system. Your spiritual, physiological, and your biological immune systems are just ready for it all. Step by step.
That's such a cool thing.
Step
What
by
a great
step.
challenge. Yeah, that is inspiring.
But when you know that the spiritual self is truly thanking you for putting something good into your mouth, and the physiological self is truly thanking you for getting some extra exercise, it is making sure your blood's pumping around your whole system. It's like everything's thanking each other. And when it gets to the point when we're maybe over-fueling and indulgence one place, but not sort of like balancing that out, then no, it's not thanking each other, because we're tired and we can't be bothered. And we end up making those self-excuses again for ourselves. And no, the body's not happy now. You can pretend it is, but it's not.
Yeah,
It tells you.
yeah, I think that was a good point that you made that, because that was exactly what was kind of going through my head. Well, first let me say good morning to Just Me Art Fan, dropping in on the chat. Good morning to you, my friend. Beautiful to see you rocking and rolling. Hope that you have a beautiful and lovely day, and spend some beautiful moments with your wife, with the earth, with the sunlight.
Excuse me.
Love you too, man. Big time. Love hanging out with you last night too. That was awesome.
Oh, that was awesome last night. That was great, man.
Yeah, that was a learning experience. Once again, a learning experience. and kind of going back to the beginning of our chat where I'm thinking about the anger management show, and they go,
Yeah.
"How do you think you did?" Not so well. You know? Yeah, it just, I see that there's many immaturities within, and it's kind of beautiful in a way to have this challenge in my life.
Yeah.
And I say it's never, and it may come across, it's never me beating myself up. It's actually the opposite. I am so proud that I can recognize these immaturities, and and also not just recognize them, but try to replace them with maturity.
You see,
And I say this with the deepest truth that I can. It's hard for me.
I understand
It
it
is
is. I
very,
understand it is, but
very
it's too
hard.
late now. It's too late. I've not been sort of like, I've not been sort of wait. I've not been sort of waiting for the word to come, but it's came now. Uh, it's something that I now use quite a lot because I'm amazing. I get it. You use the word proud. Found it very difficult and struggled with that for a long time. I don't know if you maybe realise what you've just done to yourself. Your self confidence
Probably
is
not.
going to take your self confidence is going to take leaps and bounds now. When you understand how proud you should be of yourself for everything, even the things that you've done wrong in your life that you've actually felt remorse and guilt for and did something about it. To those points in your life, you've maybe still got things that you maybe still need to take care of. And guess what? You want to make yourself proud now. You've realised what you are, the path that you're on that has purpose. Now you're illuminating from the inside out now. Because at all different levels, at some points at the moment, we should all be really proud of ourselves for what we've had to put up with in a psychological onslaught by it all. But many people will dismiss them, but I've not really got anything to be proud about. I don't do enough for this. If I maybe did more, I could maybe feel a bit of pride in what I do, but no, I just exist. You know, people don't really understand how much they have taken away from the human psyche that is necessary. It's a core energy. We're depleted. And being proud of where you are, where you see yourself and what you're doing, what you see yourself continuing to do, because that comes from a place of total self-understanding. And only you can really say that. I can't really be proud of you. Nobody can be proud. Nobody can be proud of it. No one can be proud of anyone else. They can't be. This is a self thing, not selfish. Self. And for you to feel inner pride, man, leaps and bounds for you now, brother. Oh man, proud of you.
Yeah,
I can't.
again, like these words, these words are so open to interpretation. And for one person, you know, proud can have such a negative connotation to it, and to another
Yeah,
person, it could be a word of empowerment, self-empowerment.
exactly. And then
And
they
you know, I just say
stole,
this
and then they
because
stole this, then
meaningful
they stole
conversation.
pride. Pride was stolen.
Yeah.
They stole pride. They
Yeah.
stole gay. They steal words.
There was some stuff like there was some I feel like thinking about like last night and the conversation, there was a few points that I would love to like dive
Mhm.
deeper into. There was like some really interesting like perspectives um to me that like, you know, if we started talking about it, you know, an hour ago, we would still be talking about it.
I
And
know what you mean, and I think I know
and
exactly
yeah, and
what part you're talking about.
yeah, and it's funny, like just kind of thinking about my own, like wanting, right? Like, okay, it's yeah, the door was open, and I guess I just wanted to dive deeper. And it was cool because we went, the conversation went where it went, and it was, and that's how life is.
It
When
sure
you're
is.
in a group and you're experiencing life, things go in different directions. And and a lot of us have this little petty tyrant within that would really like to be the dictator of everything. And that's where I kind of started seeing my own reflection. And I'm just going, why? Why? Why is this? Why is this like kind of a norm of thought?
It's definitely
Oh
like a
shit! I
sort
got
of like a brain soup. They're just all different vegetables.
yeah, and it's yeah,
We
and
taste
again,
lovely.
there
We,
is
we,
there
we
is
taste lovely
this
together.
yeah, yeah. But um, yeah, that was cool, man. I love that excitement of something interesting, and I love being able to dive into it and explore. That's like, man, that's just what I just fucking enjoy so damn much. Hey, but I gotta run. Uh, love you, man. Love you, peeps. Thanks, Micah. Appreciate you. Love you. Uh, Just Me Art Fan, thanks for stopping in. Love you. Thanks for everybody who took a moment out of their day to check out this conversation. Gotta run into work. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.
Peace out and peace in.